Hi guys, good evening. I am Ilangovan, onlineaxi.com, resource personnel for teaching zoology. So in the previous classes we have just talked about the reproduction, the various aspects of reproduction that too we have in human beings. And the next very important aspect now what actually at present time, as we have a number of problems related to the reproductive aspect, the reproductive health. So what do you mean by reproductive health? So normally having a normal reproductive organs, a healthy reproductive organs, having healthy reproductive organs with the normal functions and dealing with various aspects of reproduction. For example, social aspects of reproduction, the emotional aspects of reproduction. All are coming under this category, what you have is reproductive health. And as per World Health Organization, they have given a definition. So what is the meaning of that one? So according to World Health Organization, reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. So it is related to the reproduction. For example, the various aspects of reproduction related to that one, the physical one, the emotional one, the behavioral one and social one. So it is nothing but the maintenance of healthy reproductive organs and also leading a healthy life. And for that we need to maintain a proper reproductive organs and also maintaining the health and also following certain practices in these social evil things, actually we can say, because we are talking about some ill effects for it and how to rectify. That's why I'm using the word ill effects. Now we have various methods adapted, various strategies adapted for reproductive health problems, because most of you are actually feeling shy to overcome all these problems. We are not disclosing the matter to somebody or even to your doctor how to rectify all these problems. So this is the major problem in the society nowadays. You know that people are having so much of what we have shyness towards this attitude, not exposing themselves. So what to do? What are the things not to do, etc. Now, so let's pass on to what are the strategies, methods, what we adapt. You know that one in India, that is the first country which has started certain action plans and programs. What we call this one normally, that is family planning program, that was started, initiated just by India only first in 1951 at the national level. What for? To attain the reproductive health in all people as an important social goal, because it's a social problem. So that's why in India it has been initiated when compared to other countries in the world. So we are the ones who have started this program by the government, just the family planning program, not only to control or to check the population growth, but also to control certain evil things related to the reproductive health. So there is a problem, there is a program also just started by the country, that is in 1951 at the national level, to attain the total reproductive health in all kinds of people in the society. And for that they have made one program. So what we call this one, Reproductive and Child Health Care, or CH. One program, what we have this family planning program, and which we have certain programs have been included under one heading, what is called reproductive and child health welfare, child health care or welfare. Because normally at the age of just actually attaining the puberty or in the adolescent period only, there are so many things which make the people to divert, so that they become channelized towards some ill effects, ill activities. That is why the program has been given the name Reproductive and Child Health Care. Here the child refers to nothing but actually the adolescent people within the age group of 13 to just 18. And also for other people, the marriageable group people and also the young couples. So that is why the program is called as Reproductive and Child Health Care. So all programs are in operation. What for? To create certain awareness among the people. One in the adolescent age group, another one the marriageable group or the young couples, and also about just the couples or the females who are giving birth young ones, the mothers, and also about the immunization programs and other things related to the discovery or invention of new things, to find out new things or new techniques related to how to just maintain, how to just improve the reproductive health. So these are all the various programs under the scheme Reproductive and Child Health Care. We'll see one by one. So this program has been started to just create awareness among the people. Number one, particularly just in the adolescent age group. Number one, in the adolescent age group. So what we have to talk about or what we have to teach to this age group. So this is the age group of all concentration diversions, you know that one. So they have to be taught about the various reproduction aspects. So what is reproduction? What are the different types of reproductive organs? How to just follow a hygienic life? How to follow a sexual practice properly? All these things are coming into this category. We have to teach mainly the adolescent age group because they have some sort of actual imaginations in their mind about the reproduction and also the various aspects of reproduction. So we have to teach about the various aspects of reproduction related to reproduction, the various aspects. That is particularly in the case of adolescent age. So what are the things to be taught to these age group people? Number one, they have to know about the proper information about the reproductive organs, what they have, either the male child or the female child. They have to know themselves first about their reproductive organs. So they have to be taught about their just reproductive organs properly. So proper information should be given about the reproductive organs. Then about the adolescent changes. So when attaining puberty, because of the hormonal development, hormonal secretions, there are some changes are taking place in the body of male and female. So that is why they are unable to expose themselves to anybody about what is happening. They have to just remove their, relieve their shyness. They have to expose themselves. What they have some sort of fear in their mind, all should be ignored. So proper information about the reproductive organs, that is number one. They have to know their own reproductive organs. For that we have to provide, the teachers or anybody else, the doctors have to provide proper information about the reproductive organs to the adolescent age group people. And secondly, so whatever changes they are attaining actually at the time of puberty, they have fear in their mind, either the female child or male child. So they should know something about the adolescent age and what are the changes happening with reference to their body and also in their behavior. They should be taught. So adolescence and related changes. And also they have to talk about the safe and hygienic sexual practices. So that means what are the things to be followed and what are things not to be followed. They should be taught, that is about the safe and hygienic sexual practices. And finally they have to know or they must know about the sexually transmitted diseases, because so it has been calculated, it has been actually estimated, it has been also experimentally proved with the statistical data. People between the age group of just actually 15 to 24 only developing the sexually transmitted diseases like AIDS or syphilis or gonorrhea, etc. So they must be taught about the importance of sexually transmitted diseases like syphilis and also gonorrhea and some others, herpes disorder, and also about the AIDS. They should be known. So this is one. So the main aim of RCH. So reproductive and child health care, this is one. We have to give concentration about all these things towards adolescent stage. And number two, we also give importance to the next age group. So you have to educating the fertile couple. Those are able to reproduce. Those are the ability to give rise to young ones. They are called some fertile people. So educating the fertile people and those in the marriageable group, that is between the age of 18 to 25, like that. So what are the things actually have to be taught to these group of people, that is the fertile couple as well as those in the marriageable group, about number one. So what are the available birth control methods, either a temporary one or a permanent one or a natural one or a barrier method, etc. So they have to be known about the available birth control methods that should be exposed to them. That should be exposed to them. Then care for pregnant mothers. So most of the pregnant mothers normally do not know what are the things to be taken during their pregnancy period. So even the nutrient food, vitamin D rich food, so all of the things they should be known. So actually they have to take care of actually their own pregnancy. So care of pregnant mothers, we have to give care. What are the things to be taken for caring them? And also not only during the pregnancy, but also after birth. what we call the postpartum women. Postpartum women. So a woman who has given birth a month after that time, she is called postpartum woman. So we have to give care also the postnatal care after giving birth. So that is called postnatal care. Not only for just mother but also to the child. So we have to create awareness about that is a postnatal care to the mother and also about just the child. The importance of breastfeeding. So nowadays you know that one actually the couples or the mothers are very shy to give milk to just breastfeed their young ones. They do not know the importance of the breastfeeding. Because they know that when the milk contains, the first form milk, what I told in the previous class, colostrum. The colostrum contains, you know that one, mainly the first formed milk after childbirth is called colostrum. That colostrum is normally rich in antibody, IgM antibody. It is rich in IgM antibody. So, they do not know about the importance of this antibody. So this is a natural antibody formed in mother's milk and giving just actually immunity power against infection to the newborn child. So they should be known about the importance of breastfeeding. And lastly, they should mind in their mind equal opportunities should be given for both male and female childs. You know that one, in India, we have the number of female feticides increasing steadily. Most of the parents are like to have mainly the male child. Even they are also blaming the female, they are responsible for that one, they are actually just kept in asylum. These are all the things happening in the village side, not only in the village side but also in urban cities. We have such method they are following. They need the male child. There are so many programs also. And so they should think about they should have either male child or female child. So there is always 50-50 probability only among the pregnancy. It is not because of the female, it is only because of the male. They are responsible for just actually contributing the development of either male child or female child. That should be taught to them. So they should show ready preference not only for the male but also for the female child. So these are all the things actually we have to educate the people at the marriageable age group or just to the fertile couple. Then thirdly, to whom we have to give just importance. So awareness related to some problems. What is happening in the society. So there are certain actually evil things that are happening in the society. You have read in newspapers also. And the main problem what we have at present, we have crossed already more than just 110 crores of population in India. So they should know about actually the demerits and disadvantages of uncontrolled population growth. What is happening because of that one? We are just now sacrificing the places, sacrificing the food because of the uncontrolled population growth. Even we are going to surpass the population just actually the size of China within a short period of time. So such a growth is happening in India. So they must know about the uncontrolled population growth. And also there are certain social evils happening till today also. Even today or just yesterday we had so many problems about the sex abuse. Sex abuse. And also sex related crimes are increasing. Even just actually the young children, even we are using the word young children are being raped by the old people, and these are all some of the sex related crimes happening in the society. And we have to make efforts to just how to rectify all these things, and for that we have to just actually teach about all these things happening everywhere and how to protect themselves for the children. We have to teach them how to protect themselves from these things. So that is about to create awareness of problems due to the social evil things and also about the importance of population explosion, what is happening in India. And then fourthly, statutory ban on amniocentesis. So enacted ban on amniocentesis. Statutory or just we can say enacted just ban on amniocentesis. I think so here the wording in the amniocentesis. So this is a method of fetal sex determination. A fetal sex determination and happen normally. You know, during development the child, the fetus is being surrounded by a fluid, what we call this one the amniotic fluid. The fluid contains cells in it. The cells are exactly similar to the cells found in the body of the developing fetus. So if you want to know either the child is male or female, you have to take a sample of fluid from that one, that is from the amniotic cavity, what we call this one the amniotic fluid, and these to be tested based on the chromosomal pattern, whether they have XY chromosomes or XX chromosome, that is what we call this one the chromosomal pattern. And based on this one, we are just judging whether the individual is male or female. It is also a confirmatory test. So by using hypodermic syringe, we have to suck out the fluid from the abdominal cavity of the pregnant mother, the fluid, amniotic fluid. So testing the fluid for the chromosomal pattern, whether it is a male or female. So, and this is the one to be actually, we have to legally check this one, because the female fetus size is increasing steadily. That is what I told you already, one of the problems. So we have to give a legal ban on this amniocentesis. So people are doing this one, but nowadays you know that in India no one should actually, even the doctor should not give about what type of child that is developing in the mother. Okay, even during scanning process, they cannot give what type of child that is developing inside the mother. It is an offense. It has been legislated, you know that one. And similarly, this one ban on amniocentesis is another method of testing actually the sex. That should be actually legally checked in order to just prevent the increasing female fetus size. That is the fourth one, the awareness to be taken. Now, massive child immunization. So people do not know what type of actually the vaccine to be given, at which date, at which time, either during the pregnancy or just after birth, on the first day or after the third month. So they have to be given actually a documented indigenous knowledge of massive immunization program, what is called massive child immunization. We have Salk vaccine, Sabin vaccine for just polio, and BCG vaccine for tuberculosis. So when you are having this massive child immunization program all over the country, you have some specific dates, you know that whenever once in 3 months or 6 months, they are just announcing the date, and that date that you have to go for, you have to immunize a child. So there is also another method for improving just what is called the reproductive health. So massive immunization. Then also finally, we have to make a research on various reproduction related aspects, either to find out a new contraceptive pill or to improve the existing method, the barrier methods to prevent conception, to check the population growth. So anyway, just research has been made. You have to make research on reproduction related aspects or the reproduction related areas to find out new techniques, how to prevent consumption, how to check the population growth, how to treat the sexually transmitted diseases. Either we have to create a new method or find out a new method, or we have to improve already existing method. For example, so we have the contraceptive pills that should be taken by actually the females in order to avoid the pregnancy. And for that they have to take the tablets for all the 21 days, starting from 1 to 21 days, according to the principle, what is given in the tablet, the procedure. But there is a new drug, a new contraceptive pill has been made by the CDRI, Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow, and that research institute has made one contraceptive pill. So this is once a week pill. You need not take for all 21 days. Once in a week you have to take the pill, and that one just what is called Saheli. This is a new contraceptive pill. That would not a steroidal product. So normally all the contraceptive pills what we are taking in, just normally for the female I am using the word what we are taking in, for the female is all actually these are all the steroidal production. Either it is formed of progesterone or it is formed by a combination of estrogen and progesterone. That is what we are using the tablets of pills. But this pill is of actually high contraceptive value because it is once a week pill, and also that one is non-steroidal actually production, non-steroidal nature, not having any sex hormones in that one, either progesterone or estrogen or both. And all these steroidal hormones are absent because mostly the steroidal hormones give some sort of side effects. Though it is being preferred by the female in India, having some sort of actually side effects because of using the tablets for altogether for nearly 21 days. That is why a new contraceptive pill has been introduced by CDRI, Central Drug Research Institute at Lucknow, and that one is called Saheli. So these are the things to be actually made by RCH, that is Reproductive and Child Health Care Programs, and to make awareness in the mind of the adolescent people, the mind of the manageable group, that is what we have the young couple, or we have just to ban on this what is called synthesis, massive immunization, research methods to find out new things related to the reproductive health. So all being done just for improving the reproductive health, maintaining that organs in health conditions, in hygienic conditions, and also following hygienic sexual practices. Then, so one of the aspects under this reproductive health, we are now just facing nothing but the population explosion. So what do you mean by population explosion? So there is a sudden increase in population. So all of a sudden the population has been increased since 1900. That now at present it has been quadrupled. So 4 times increase in population growth in India since from 1900. At present we have just more than 2 billion population actually. Just generally speaking, just as per the context by 2000. So we are almost reaching, that one just 10 billion at present. Just actually we have more than that. So that is happening. We have more than 110 crores of population. 110 crores of population in India. Now the world population, which was now in 1900, just only 2 million. Now it dropped to reach a maximum number by 2000, about 6 million. You see that one, a 3-fold increase as per the world population is concerned. A 3-fold increase, 5-fold increase. But normally now at present it is a quadruple. It is quadruple, 4 times increase in population growth. So the world population, which was normally 2 billion when it was just taken into consideration by 2000, just actually before, that is in 1900, and now it is about 2000. This is because of so many reasons. Because of actually invention of medicine, antibiotics, even vaccination, all being responsible. Also declining the death rate, increase of birth rate, all are such nonsense things responsible for increasing the population growth. So in 1900 it is dropped about to 6 billions by 2000. See, that was such a sudden, unprecedented increase in population growth. We cannot expect such a population growth within a short period of time. So this is the whole population. Let's come to India. So before independence, that is before independence, 1947, we had population of 350 million, less than 1 billion. Less than 1 billion people just we have. That is at the time of independence. But reached close to 1 billion, just about 1,000 million. Just reached close to a billion mark by 2000, approaching. But after 2000, just it crossed 1 billion. In May, just a statistical data is given 2000. May 2000. And before May, just by 2000, it was approaching 1 billion, that is 1,000 million. But after just actually May, it was estimated according to the census report, we had nearly about just 1 billion in May 2000. So it has crossed, that almost surpassing this one. It is being quadrupled. That means every 6th person in the world is an Indian. Every 6th person in the world is an Indian. So for every 6 persons in the world, 1 is an Indian. That is, you see that one such a huge number. Though 1 by 6, it is actually among the populations in the world. So every 6th person in the world is an Indian. That is the statistical data. Suppose if the number is increasing in such a rate, what will happen within a span of 30 years or more, or 33 years? It is being normally triple or double like that. So, and what is population explosion? This sudden increase in population size or growth, unexpected population growth, is called population explosion or population bomb, also called as population trap. So sudden increase in population occurs all of a sudden because of so many factors are operating and interacting together, that is mainly responsible for the development of such a huge enormous growth and that is called population explosion. Unexpected and precedental, that is increase in population growth, is called what is known as population explosion or population bomb or population trap. Now what are the reasons for such population growth? Let's point out based on the reproduction. So the main reasons for population explosion. So it is not because of increase in birth rate, but because of declining death rate. You should bear in mind. There is also one of the questions related to. So population explosion is because of decline of what is called the death rate and not because of increase in birth rate. So declining of mortality rather than what is called actually increasing of fertility, or just what we can say, that is natality, the birth rate. So the main reason is a rapid decline, in which case that is death rate, particularly in whom, that is maternal, that is what is called the maternal mortality rate, or just also we have infant mortality rate. So declining because of new inventions, because of vaccination, because of medicine, because of improvement. So these two areas we are concentrating at present. In a population there are three different age groups: pre-reproductive, reproductive, and then post-reproductive. So at present we have less number of people in the post-reproductive age. We have more number of people in the reproductive age and also in the pre-reproductive age, namely the children. That is why, as because of new invention just in medicine, so use of more antibiotics, because of vaccination, mass immunization program, now the mortality rate has been declining in the case of infants. So declining of mortality rate in just what is called infants, that is called infant mortality rate. Not only that, actually the reproducing age group, they are giving birth more young ones. So declining death rate also happens in the case of maternal mortality rate. So there is a decrease in decline in mortality rate just in the case of reproducing age group people. So maternal mortality rate and also this infant mortality rate, these are the two main causes of population explosion. And not only that, there is a steady increase in the number of reproducible age group, people in the reproducing or reproducible age group. So such kind of increase also happening in the just population group. One, declining of mortality and increase in number of those people, the fertile people, those in the marriageable group and those in the reproducible group. That is happening. These are the two main reasons for the population explosion. So we have different actually situations. So we have, for example, different conditions responsible for population growth, just subdivisions under these categories, but mainly rapid decline of mortality rate and increase of actually reproducible age group people, and these are the two major causes for population explosion. Now it has been another statement, a statistical data. The population growth rate is about 1.7%. See that 1.7 as given, it is nothing but 1.7%. That means so we are calculating the birth rate for every 1,000 members in a population. For every 1,000, there are about 17 births per year. So still it is a high rate of population. So 1.7%, that is every 1,000 people, there are about 17 births happening in a year. And if it happens, what will happen? Within a period of 33 years, the population could be doubled. The population could be doubled within a span of 33 years if it happens at a rate of 1.7%. So for that we have to make certain methods to avoid such population growth, and for that only we have the family planning program. We are adapting what we call this one the birth control methods. So to avoid consumption or to promote contraception, we have the methods what we call the birth control methods, normally called contraceptive methods. So at which we are following different methods. Some of the methods are temporary methods, some of them are permanent methods. Even under the temporary methods, we have the natural methods, barrier methods, then just we have intrauterine devices, the hormonal tablets, the implants, etc. We will see one by one. So what are the different kinds of birth control techniques adapted in India? As we are following definite methods, to prevent what is called consumption, to avoid pregnancy. And these methods are together called contraceptive methods. Now first one, so we have two methods generally, a temporary method. So in this one we can make the individuals not to conceive, but if they desire to have a child, they can conceive. And that is what is called the temporary methods. But in the case of permanent methods, we are just actually terminating the pregnancy altogether. So terminating the pregnancy, any more pregnancies, we don't have any more pregnancies in such permanent methods. Now I will just take this one, temporary methods. And this one, the first method, natural methods. So these methods are known to work on the principle of avoiding chances of ovum and sperm meeting. We have to just not to give any chance of sperm and ovum meeting, and that is what is happening. So this is based on this principle one. So we have to have a self-control for this one. We have to follow the natural method. There are things to be followed under this natural methods. So under the natural methods, we actually work on the principle of avoiding chances of meeting, avoiding the chances of meeting the sperm and egg to form actually the process, namely just the pregnancy. Now, what are the natural methods? Number one, periodic abstinence. So it is a method in which actually the male or female partner to abstain or to avoid from coitus. So this is a natural method. We have to avoid or abstain from just coitus. So there is a period, a fertile period during the menstrual cycle. We know we already studied the menstrual cycle. The ovum release occurs on day 14. So the nature of the ovum release varies from one person to another person according to the nature of the body, according to the nature of the hormone secreted. So a person has to avoid coitus from day 10 to 14 during the period of menstrual cycle. During the menstrual cycle, you know that one, it is the cyclic process happening from 1 to 28 days, normally 28 to 29 days. So avoiding coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle will be one of the methods to prevent consumption, because these periods or these days are considered as the fertile period. And during that period, one you know that one ovulation occurs on day 14. As the ovulation period is changing from one individual to another, that is a period is given as per the rule, as per the World Health Organization, and that is also considered a period between 10 to 17 to avoid just coitus. So such a method is normally workable. Avoiding such things will prevent pregnancy. Therefore, actually a person by avoiding or abstaining from coitus during this period, normally conception could be prevented. Then the second method, the natural method, and then you have the method what is called the withdrawal or coitus interruptus, in which a male partner withdraws his penis during coitus from the vagina of the female, so that he will prevent the insemination into the uterus. There is no insemination, as actually the sperms, as the semen has not reached the uterus, as it has been actually removed from the vagina of the female. So ejaculation occurs only outside the body of the female. So there is no chance of fertilization, there is no chance of conception. This is what is called withdrawal or coitus interruptus. So the male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina before ejaculation so as to avoid conception or pregnancy. This is the second natural method. The third one, lactational amenorrhea. So menorrhea referring to the menstrual cycle. Amenorrhea, there is no menstrual cycle. Absence of menstrual cycle is called amenorrhea. Now lactational amenorrhea. Lactation means nothing but the formation and the release of the milk. So at the end of pregnancy and also after postulation chamber. So it is one of the method. It is working on the principle or based on the fact that normally during lactational period there is no ovulation occurs. There is no release of the ovum when the mother is feeding her child continuously, breastfeeding child continuously or fully. So that is a basic principle. That is why normally if you are giving just right when the mother is feeding the young one for about 6 months, there is no chance of getting actually, because this is because of the hormonal effects, hormonal balance. So it is based on the fact that ovulation does not occur during lactation, and therefore the cycles do not occur during the period of intense lactation after birth or following parturition. So as far as the mother is actually breastfeeds her child fully, almost the conception is nil. Almost the conception is nil. There is no chance of conception. This is what we call this one the natural method, to be adapted by the mother, what is called lactational amenorrhea. Now the barrier methods. So the next one just actually barrier methods. So the next one we have barrier method. It is not mentioned here. Barrier methods. This is a second temporary methods. The second temporary methods, and coming into this category the condoms. So in the case of barrier methods, it is also based on the principle that the sperms and eggs are actually prevented from physically meeting with the help of barriers. The second method is a barrier method, and based on this one, what is a principle line behind it? The sperms and eggs are prevented from physically meeting with the help of the barriers. So such barrier methods are available both for male and female. Now this is a second method you have to just follow. So second method. So, and what are the different barrier methods used by both male and female? Because I mentioned already the barrier methods are available both for male and female, and just actually it is available both for male and female. Number one, so what are the different types? Condoms. So these are the barriers normally made of thin rubber or latex that can be used both by male or female. So in the case of male, that one is used to just actually cover the penis. And in the case of female, it is used to cover what is called the cervix of the uterus. Cervix of the uterus. So while using that one, actually we are covering that one, the cervix or vagina of the uterus, what we call this one the birth canal. So while we are using that one, what will happen? The ejaculate semen is retained in this condom. So condoms are available both for male and female. I will show the structure later now, just in the photographs or actually the picture. So, while using the condoms, it is made of what is called a non-irritable rubber or what is called a latex sheet. So, the ejaculate semen is being retained in the condom as it is normally owned by the male and also by the female. So, in the case of male, the male has to cover the penis. In the case of female, it has to be used to place in the vagina to cover the cervix, the mouth of the uterus or the neck of the uterus. So, the ejaculate semen is retained in the condom, preventing the insemination, preventing the entry to the uterus from there to reach the fallopian tube for fertilization. Now, in addition to that one, in the case of female, they have diaphragms or cervical caps and walls. So, walls also caps. We also have something other than this, what is called the caps of different types. One type is walled, another type is vimule. Another type is vimule. This is another type of cap. So it is replaced normally just into the vagina to cover the cervix so that there is no entry of the sperm into the uterus. So we have walls. So the walls are somewhat used actually to cover the flattish cervix. The vimule is normally used to cover what is called elongated cervix. So according to the nature of the cervix, the diameter of the cervix, we are using the different caps. So diaphragms. So a partition or a covering or a cervical cap to cover the cervix of uterus, either by means of vimule type or by means of walls according to the nature of the cervix of the female, and these are all actually rubber. So they are inserted into the female, and for example in the case of another one, just we have the caps and walls, vimule I mentioned, also the condoms. Now the condoms are actually inserted into the vagina of the female, and there are two ends. One is a closed end. The closed end is placed inside, and there is another end. We have the open end. We have the picture later. The open end is normally placed outside the vagina, just like the condom of male, so that the semen be retained in the condom in the case of female. But these are all nothing but the caps to be placed in the place of cervix Either it may be a vimule or it may be what we have the walls. The vimule are used for flattish cervix and then walls are used for flattish cervix and vimules are used for elongated cervix. And they are actually inserted in the female reproductive tract what for to cover the cervix during coitus to prevent insemination or to prevent the reaching of the sperm into. Then, and these condoms or we have the cervical caps all being used along with spermicidal creams. They have the ability to kill the sperms. Spermicidal creams. So the spermicide is available either in the form of creams or in the form of jellies or in the form of foams. So in order to increase the efficiency, the contraceptive efficiency of these structures, they should be used along with the spermicidal creams or jellies or foams. Then the third one, intrauterine devices. Intrauterine devices. So use of intrauterine devices is also another popular method in India and also more effective method. What we are following, most of the females in India are using this method. And these are all inserted into the uterus through the vagina. That is why it's called intrauterine device. They have to be placed. The previous one is to be placed at the cervix of the uterus, but these intrauterine devices are to be placed in the uterus to avoid actually the pregnancy, also to avoid consumption. So these are all inserted into the uterus through the birth canal, namely the vagina. So there are three different types of intrauterine devices. They are all available in three different forms. One, non-medicated IUDs. So they may be in the form of loop. So like this, they may be in the form of loop. I'll show the picture later. Called what is known as a lippus, non-medicated. And the second one, copper releasing IUDs. We are normally just calling this one copper T. Copper releasing IUDs. So what is the purpose of using copper? It is a non-irritant, it is non-rustable, but at the same time the ions released, the copper ions released from the copper T will normally suppress the motility of the sperm and preventing their capacity to, just preventing their fertilizing capacity. That is why we are using copper. Why we are using copper? Because the sperms are highly sensitive to copper. The ions released by the copper T normally just actually not allow the sperm to move, suppressing their motility and also just prevent their fertilizing capacity. This is the reason why you see that what I written here, copper ions released suppress sperm motility and also fertilizing capacity of sperms. Then, so they are available in different forms, copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375, normally called as ML, ML 375, ML 380A. I'll show the picture later. And some IUDs are hormone release because the IUD, that is what is called intrauterine device, is provided with a capsule of hormone. The one which now progestogen, normally we have the progestogen in that one, or a combination of what is called somehow estrogen also. And that one now releasing the hormone, that hormone released from that capsule will normally upset the sperm motility. So all these we have different types. For example, progestasert, a capsule, that is what is called a T-shaped structure, intrauterine device having a capsule of progesterone or progestogen. And LNG20, this is another type. So we have different types of actually intrauterine devices, non-medicated, copper ion releasing or hormone releasing IUDs. So all are most effective because they will not only just actually preventing the motility of the sperm, and also they cause the phagocytosis. They cause phagocytosis of the sperm. So the sperms are actually being engulfed by the cells of the uterus, and that is being promoted by all these intrauterine devices. So, and what is the role of this hormone releasing IUDs? So it makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. So the implantation happens to occur only when you have the thickening of the endometrium occurs. But it is being prevented. There is no thickening of the uterine endometrium because of the hormone released by IUDs. That is number one effect. So it makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. And also it makes the cervix hostile, unfriendly to the sperms. That is, the cervix is not allowing the sperm to enter. So that is what is happening. And so these are all the ideal contraceptives used for the female. Normally, what for? To delay pregnancy or space children. And these one I mentioned already, all intrauterine devices increase phagocytosis of sperms within the uterus. So we can either delay the pregnancy or giving a gap between two successive children. For that one, they are using this IUDs. In addition to that one, we also have some other methods, what is called contraceptive sponge. Contraceptive sponge. So it is being inserted into the vagina before coitus, before 24 hours of coitus. The reason for that one, it can occlude, just to block the cervix, releases the spermicide and also absorbing the semen. That is the role of contraceptive sponge. Another device normally used, applicable nowadays in India, contraceptive sponge, to just a sponge to block the cervix and also to just release the spermicide and also absorption of semen. All are being just taken by the contraceptive sponge. And now actually the next one, the contraceptives, it is one of the widely accepted methods of contraception in India. Now I mentioned about this oral contraceptives. Here what we are taking here, administration of that is progestogen, a mimic compound of progesterone hormone, or only just anti-progestogen only, or it is being taken in combination with estrogen as a combined pill. It may be a single pill when it contains only progestogen, or it may be a combination of progestogen and estrogen. It is a mimic compound of the hormone progesterone, and then it is called combined pill. A simple pill or combined pill, we can use it. So they are available in the form of pills, and it has been taken, I mentioned already, for 21 days, but it should be started within 5 days of menstruation, within the first 5 days of menstrual cycle. Then it has been continued after a gap of 7 days of menstruation. 7 days of menstruation, it has been continued, it has been repeated. The same pattern what is given in the tablet actually sheet. And it has been continued by the females until actually or till they desire to prevent consumption. As far as I think they are taking this one, these are all the hormonal tablets, steroidal tablets, with a little effect, but they are more effective also. And what are the effects of hormonal method? In what way they are working? Number one, they prevent ovulation process, not allowing the ovum to be released, but are not affecting the menstrual cycle. And number two, it prevent ovulation also. They prevent ovulation. And also we have the mucus glands lining the vagina. It just stimulates such glands to produce more mucus and alters the quality of the mucus. The mucus produced during that period of just administration of such pills, it will stimulate actual secretion of more mucus and alters the quality of the mucus, and it forms a block and doesn't allow the entry of the sperm, or doesn't allow the sperm to penetrate through it. So mucus secretion, preventing implantation, preventing ovulation. And these are all actually very effective method nowadays available, and lesser side effects, and well just followed by and well accepted by the field. So lesser side effects and then very effective, and also with the just actually well accepted by the female nowadays. I mentioned about this another contraceptive pill, Sahel. It is a new oral contraceptive and a non-steroidal actually preparation. Instead of taking 21 days, the female has to take once in a week. That is why it's called a once a week pill. So it has very few side effects with high contraceptive value. Then the last one, injection or implants. So instead of taking pills, the progestogen alone or in combination with estrogen to be injected into the body. This is number one method. Progestogen or in combination with estrogen can be used by female as injection, or it may be used in the form of implants. So what are implants? Actually, it is nothing but a combination of progestogen. It is normally a long tube. We can say long tube, or we can say short tube of 40 millimeter, short tube of 40 millimeter long. inside which we have the combination of progestogen and the estrogen. It's being actually placed inside or just below the skin in the upper arm, just below the skin for upper arm. So it is actually working for a period of 3 years. It is effective for a longer period of 3 years, unlike others. For just a tea, copper tea or anything else, you have to replace it once in a year. But in the case of this one, it is to be done only with the doctor. We have to make a small incision and you have to place it just below the skin. After making that one, you have to make a suture. That is being done in the upper arm. So it is releasing the hormone gradually from the capsule. And that one prevents what is called the consumption. Such things are called implants. We have different types actually. The trade names, for example, implanon or nexplanon. Implanon and nexplanon. But it needs the help of the doctor. And other barrier methods do not need the help of the doctor. But in this case, because these are all small flexible tubes about 40 mm long, inserted under the skin of the upper arm, by making an incision by the doctor, then it is to be ligated or sutured. So, some trademarks available with some trade names, implanon or nexplanon. These are all some types of implants available in the market. But such implants are highly effective. So, injections we are injecting once, again and again. But these implants are to be kept just below the skin for a longer period. They are very effective for a longer period. For example, 3 years. Once in 3 years only, you have to replace it. So anyway, the administration of either progestogen or just what is called combination of progestogen and estrogen pills or using intrauterine devices are more effective within just 72 hours of coitus to prevent pregnancy. If you are just using that one within 72 hours of pregnancy, 72 hours of coitus, just actually it has been found very effective as emergency contraceptive. Emergency contraceptives. So such things being done only in the case of, for example, casual unprotected sexual behavior or in the case of rapes. In such cases, they are considered as emergency contraceptives, but it is to be used within 72 hours of coitus. Then only it can prevent pregnancy. Now here are the pictures. Now what I mentioned, this is a copper IUD integrated device with a copper. It is actually 380 ml 380A multiple. And also we have 375. I will show that one later in the next picture. And this is the Lennox loop. This is the Lennox loop. And others are simply being placed just like copper T, non-medical, so non-medicated. So there doesn't actually, this is not a copper T, some other material, and also like that one. So these are all made of actually rubber or plastic. That is what we call the latex. So non-medicated IUDs. This is IUD with copper. I will show the hormonal IUD also. So this is the one. Now hormonal IUD. Intrauterine system or IUD with progestogen. Progestogen is nothing but a mimic compound synthesized artificially similar to progesterone hormone. You see, this is the capsule containing the hormone that is being released gradually, that will normally make just the uterus that is non-receptive to the sperm, makes the uterus actually not suitable for implantation, and also for preventing or promoting the phagocytosis. So here are some of actually a number of IUDs. Now these are 380A, and this one the multi-load, this one, also this one. So these are all actually multi-load 375, multi-load 375, and these two 380A, and this is what is called the Lennox loop. This is the loop, and these are all the cap. It may be caps, or in the form it may be called as, for example, watt, or it may be called as Vimeo. So these are all the different actually intrauterine devices. Now this is a condom. The first one is for male and the second one is for female. So it is being formed of polyurethane. It is formed of a material what is called polyurethane. I'll show another picture. Now it has two rings. One is called as a floating ring, and that is normally found at the closed end. It is called as a floating ring because it is used for pressing it into the vagina. And another end is actually open. We have another ring, outer ring is open. So this is a closed one, and this is a open one, just like a condom. It is to be inserted into the vagina, and the open end should be outside the vagina. So it can retain the semen inside of it. Now these are all the implants. So these are all things being placed below the skin, and it is to be covered. So it is to be sutured, it is to be ligated. So it can be retained for 3 years, a long duration, more effective, containing mainly the progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combination. Now what are the permanent methods? So those methods what I showed nothing but the temporary methods. Those methods what I showed temporary methods. So if you want to wish to have a child, then you can just leave that one. But these permanent methods, once for all over, they terminate the pregnancy actually. These are all the termination methods. So it is a terminal method to prevent any more pregnancies. Once it has been done, there is no chance of getting pregnancy again unless otherwise had to be done something. So anyway, it is a terminal method to prevent any more pregnancies. So what is its importance? This surgical intervention normally blocks the gamete transport. There is no transport once you cut. So normally either the fallopian tube or the vas deferens to be cut. Once they are being cut, it blocks the transport of gamete to reach the fertilization spot. That is why there is no conception. Now there are two methods. One in the case of male, another one in the case of female. The method that is adopted in the case of male is called vasectomy. So it is a permanent birth control method or sterilization. Other name for this one, sterilization. So it is a sterilization procedure adopted in the case of male. And what we are doing in the case of vasectomy, now the first diagram shows normally the vasectomy. So in the case of vasectomy, what we are doing, it is being done in the case of male. It is a permanent birth control method in the case of male. So you see that one, the epididymis leaving from the testis is continued back as what is called the vas deferens. It is just moving up and circling the urinary bladder, climbing up and circling the urinary bladder and joins with what is called the ejaculate duct or the urethra. Now, it is the transport system for the transport of the sperm to reach house. Now, what we are doing in the case of this vasectomy, a small cut is made. The vas deferens is to be cut. The cut ends are ligate. So, we are just by making a small incision on the scrotum, and the vas deferens is exposed and it is being cut, and the cut ends are tied up or ligated. It's also called ligation procedure. So that there is no passage of the sperm. So this method is not immediately effective, as we have already just entered the sperms and the semen in the seminal vesicle, and you have to find out whether the semen is completely emptied or not. So this method is not immediately effective. Now the another method in the case of female, what we are using is called the tubectomy as plantectomy. So in the case of tubectomy, here instead of cutting the vas deferens, here we are cutting what we call the fallopian tube. A fallopian tube is cut on both the sides. The cut ends are tied up or ligated by making a small incision either on the abdomen or through the vaginal tract. So it is immediately effective. But if you are not, actually you know that when I mentioned earlier, the fertilization occurs in the isthmic ampullary junction. Suppose if you make a cut just after that junction, if already fertilization has been completed, we have a chance of development of the child in the fallopian tube. And such a type of pregnancy, where you have the development of the child in the fallopian tube, is called ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy. What is ectopic pregnancy? The pregnancy that occurs in the fallopian tube instead of the uterus. So these are all the two. So it is not immediately effective, but this one is immediately effective. So these are all the two methods normally adapted for permanent surgical methods. Now, though we are using different methods, what are the disadvantages of contraceptive methods? What are the ill effects? While we are consuming the tablets, that is in the case of female, there is a chance of become nausea. Disadvantages of contraceptive methods. While using either uterine device or the condoms or just even the pills, and water may be the one. So in some cases, it is not adjustable. So they are developing some sort of side effects. One, the vomiting sense nausea. In some cases, while they are having their property in the uterus, they have abdominal pain. Then continuous bleeding, that is breakthrough bleeding. And also we have irregular menstrual bleeding. It is not normal. And finally also there is a chance of getting breast cancer. So these are all some of the ill effects, though many advantages are there. There are also some disadvantages like abdominal pain, nausea, the cancer in the reproductive tract, and also just abnormal or irregular menstrual bleeding and breakthrough bleeding, continuous bleeding, all are happening to occur because of there is a contraceptive methods. So anyway, we have 75% of actually advantages. The remaining 25% results in disadvantages. So anyway, we have these methods to be adapted to have a good reproductive health and with normal functions to proceed a safe sexual hygienic life.